Before diving into today's episode, let me ask you a question. What would you do if you were playing a game, someone cheated on the gameplay and took an advantage? Will you also cheat like that person? Or will you drop a proper punishment on that player so this does not happen at any future point? Drop your answer in the pinned comment in the comments section below. Simply to say, Formula 1 is a sport where a team would look to use every loophole they have got within the rules to their advantage. That's what Red Bull has tried, but did get caught by the governing body of Formula 1. So in today's episode, let's talk about what Red Bull did to infringe the budget cap of 2021. Do they even need to go over the budget cap to make a fast car? What's Toto Wolff's take on this matter? And at last, let's talk about the most suitable penalty for Red Bull for exceeding the budget cap, so I do recommend you stick till the end of this video. The FIA has revealed that Red Bull are guilty of a minor breach in the 2021's F1 budget cap. This means that the team has gone by a maximum amount of 5% of the agreed $145 million, which equates to $7.25 million. According to rumors, Red Bull has spent a maximum of $2 million over the set budget limit, which sounds like a little, but in F1 terms, it roughly translates something in between half to nearly a second of lap time in an F1 car. We are not sure if this was on the 2021 car or the 2022 car, or even if it was on both, but a handy guess would be that Red Bull did spend on both years. Cause we saw Red Bull fight Mercedes 2021, but this year, they have dominated the sport from the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari. Another major point for Red Bull breaching the cap has been their chief technological officer, Adrian Newey. According to reports, Red Bull deemed to have found a loophole in the new regulations of the budget cap, leading Red Bull in to do something very strange with Adrian. We all know that Adrian is one of the biggest heads behind the RB18 and Red Bull's recent performance uplifts of its cars. But Red Bull decided to list him as a contractor out of the Red Bull official employees list to keep him outside of the budget cap. Adrian's being paid around $10 million per year, according to The Guardian. This makes perfect sense as to why Red Bull wanted him off the books. That $10 million can be utilized on many more things, like on the car development. In F1's unfettered pre-COVID and pre-cost cap era, Red Bull employed fewer people and ran to a smaller budget than both Ferrari and Mercedes. Red Bull was reportedly operating at around 80% of the capacity of Ferrari's and Mercedes' chassis operations and spending around $100 million less than its main rivals too. Of course, Red Bull wasn't winning championships then, or even properly challenging for them, but it was regularly winning races while operating more efficiently than its main rivals. Arguing over something in the range of less than $7.25 million, though obviously symbolic in F1's new age of regulated spending, is actually peanuts when judged against a sort of discrepancies that used to exist not so long ago at the front of the grid. Ferrari and Mercedes, as both have discussed publicly, are not used to having to make every penny count in terms of their respective investments in R&D. Of course, Red Bull was also forced to downsize, but with the advantage of having recently operated in a way that's already relatively much more efficient than the teams it regularly competes with. Whether or not its accounting is quite right this time, there are fundamental methods and processes behind the way it goes racing that will likely underpin continued success against Ferrari and Mercedes, which have much further to travel and relatively much more pain to endure. Toto Wolff is furious due to the fact that the W13 is not where it needs to be and his rival team winning championships by being over the rules. These are teams which used to spend 3 or even more than 4 times of the current cost cap, so it is reasonable to be angry when one of your rivals are over the line when you are right on it. Lewis Hamilton once told media that if they has a sum of $350,000 to bring a new floor, they would have won the 2021 Rivers Championship. This explains the right Toto has to be angry over Christian and Red Bull. But is his decision on the wellness of his team and the sport? According to many reports, Toto Wolff is ready to go over the budget cap, just like Red Bull did, if the FIA does not punish Red Bull with a harsh penalty, meaning to strip Max Verstappen of his first driver's title. Is this the right choice by Toto Wolff when considering the motive the cost cap was introduced for? We will have to look a bit more closer than usual to answer that question. Let's just say for the best worst-case scenario, the penalty Red Bull is given by the FIA is just a fine, let's assume by $20 million for overspending $2 million. If Red Bull gets that sort of penalty for a minor breach, Mercedes also will be getting the same penalty if they were accused of a minor breach. For us, $20 million is a lot of money, but for a F1 team of size and scale of Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari, $20 million is just a piece of cake. That's why they were able to be so much ahead of the competition on the turbo hybrid era. Back to point. Mercedes is desperate to make it back to the front, and the only limiting factor for them to get back to the front is the budget cap, limiting the amount of money Mercedes is able to spend. If they are able to get some extra money in their hands, they will be able to make much significant improvements to their car, but no, that's not happening this time. This is why Toto Wolff and furious. Red Bull is overspending and getting an advantage. As we mentioned before, the overspend and not categorized yet, as if it was for this or next year, officially. But if we can put the puzzle pieces together, Adrian was off the books, so that means the 2022 and the rest of future season cars are benefited from that. We also should consider the money available due to Adrian being off the books, that might have played mazdalti to the 2021 campaign. As we know that Red Bull were bringing massive upgrades, even when Mercedes stopped bringing new parts to its W12. Again, Mercedes and Toto being furious is well explained, but is the method Toto choosing the best method? I do not think I am the best person to answer that, so I am leaving it to you guys. Drop your ideas on the comments section below. Red Bull is yet to receive a penalty from the FIA due to its overspend on the 2021 season. It can be a fine, reduction in budget for future years, banning from certain quali sessions and practice sessions, to worst, exclusion from the championship. At this case, I do believe that the governing body must impose a harsh and heavy penalty on Red Bull so that other teams do not follow Red Bull's path. Is it a mistake, or was it done intentionally by Red Bull? That I am not sure of, but whatever it is, it should be dealt at its best. Again, I am not the best person to give a proper verdict on this matter for the fact being, I don't have the necessary facts to review first. But if I were to give the final judgment on the penalty for Red Bull, I will have two options. First, considering what advantage Red Bull gained with the overspend. Option number 1 is to strip Max Verstappen of his driver's title if Red Bull did spend more on their 2021 car. But if Red Bull did spend more money for 2022 and the future seasons to come, then I would recommend on reduction on Red Bull's future budget cap, combined with reduced wind tunnel time, to neutralize the advantage Red Bull has gained over its rivals for the years to come, and also to put them on the back foot. Well, I would like to hear your ideas on the penalty for Red Bull as well. Drop those penalties on the comments section below. Want to know what aero upgrades Mercedes has intended to bring to the United States Grand Prix? Then click on the video box shown on your screen now, and I will see you there. Thank you for watching this video, please subscribe, and I will catch you on the next episode.